Councillor Henger. Councillors, any discussion? Councillor now moves to put the motion. Those for, against, carried. General Manager, do we have any declarations of interest?
Mr Mayor, I have one declaration of interest from Councillor Smith in the General Manager's confidential report concerning electricity procurement.
Councillors could have a move and a seconder. Councillor Burke, Councillor Hogan. Councillor, any discussions? Councillor, I'll now put the motion. Those for, against, carried. Councillors, we now move to the General Manager's and Directors' report. Item 8.1. Item 8.1.1, Airport Expression of Interest. Councillor, could I move in a seconder? Councillor North, Councillor Burke. Councillors, any discussion? Councillor, now put the motion. Those for? Sorry, who was it? Councillor Fry, sorry.
Yeah, thank you, Mr Mayor, and what a critical thing for our town. We get the best value for the people reignite reliable service for our town. It's critical in my eyes to be able to be professional community and be able to use more regular insurance service and one that's reliable and from my downline that will really partner with in the future. Aside from that, medical needs of business, the airline is critical for our transport, therefore transport to go to and from medical appointments. And I know there's plenty of other flying use to support this service, and I really hope that more councils will support this because it is a critical thing for our city.
Thank you, Councillor Fry. Any other discussion? Councillor Orban? I can't see him. Thank you, Councillor Orban. Any further discussion? Councillors, I now put the motion. Those for, against, carried. Councillors, I now move to the Director of Environmental Planning and Building Services reports. Item number 8.2.1, Section 4.15 of the Environmental Planning and Assessment Act 1979. Councillors can have a mover and a seconder. Councillor Burke, Councillor Smith. Councillors, any discussion?
Good, yeah, sorry.
Yes, Councillor Hagan.
Could I just ask that we address Mr Kennard's concerns about the solar, because we did a site inspection earlier in the week and felt that it was what we saw was
Not there yet.
Oh, I'm
Okay.
sorry. What have I jumped to?
Item 8.2.1.
Oh, I'm so
Second.
sorry.
All right. Councillors, any discussion? Councillor, now put the motion. Those for, against, carried. Item 8.2.2, General Report. Councillor, have a mover and a seconder. Councillor Burke, Councillor Smith. Councillors, any discussion? Councillors, I now put the motion. Those for, against, carried. Item 8.2.3, development application number 202264, two-storey dwelling at lot 22, DP 1254115, 5 Mayor Street, Lanark. Applicant Mr. M. Anderson and Mr. A. Dahanda and Mrs. K. Khan. Councillor, and a mover and a seconder. Councillor Hogan, Councillor Smith. Councillors, any discussion? Councillor Hogan.
Sorry about that. Through you, Mr. Mayor, I was just wondering if I could ask the Director of Planning just to speak to Mr. Kennard's issue about solar, because we did look at it closely the other morning on inspection, and if we can just talk about those shadow diagrams from the winter solstice, please.
Mr. Director.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So the proposal that's before you, the shadow diagrams you refer to are in the attachment. There will be shadowing. The shadow diagrams are quite explicit in that. I wanted to point out, if I may, that the shadow diagrams apply at the shortest day of the year, and therefore they're a worst case scenario. And they do show that the shading of the solar panels will occur after about midday. The flip side of that is that there will be some period of even the shortest day when there is some sunlight on the solar panels. I acknowledge that that's when you need it most too, but nonetheless there will be some sunlight available. There was also the suggestion that the proposal be lowered to reduce the shading effect. It's my advice that would be an impost on the developer, acknowledge that. But also I'm not quite sure that would have a significant effect on the shading. I'm not sure that it would reduce the shading effect all that much further. There's also already some cut as well as some fill on the development site. At one part of the block it's already cut half a metre. To lower that again a further metre would be a significant change to the proposal.
Thank you, Mr. Director. Any further discussion? Councillors, I'll now put the motion. Oh, sorry. Councillor Orban, got you.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Mayor. Can I just ask the Director, I've had talk with one of the neighbours. She has a degree of a problem about her privacy with that two-storey place looking down at hers. It's just been addressed that on that side of the building, are the windows the rectangular type that are, I get above on the top of the wall where you don't actually look out, but they let the light in? Has that been put into this development, do you know?
Mr. Director. Must be a highlight.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, there's no requirement that there be any particular treatment to those windows, but the council staff opinion is that the ability to invade privacy is limited based on the distance of setback and the number of windows and the use of those rooms. It would be possible to add some privacy treatment if that's council's wish.
Thank you, Mr. Director. Any further discussion? Yes, Councillor Orban.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I would like to that to be looked at, please, because worst possible thing in a residential area with a two-storey house going in is privacy to next door neighbour who's a single dwelling, and who may have bathrooms, bedrooms on that side of the house. So if we can look at that, please, and make any adjustments as needed. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Orban. No further discussion? Councillors, I'll now put the motion. We need a division. Councillors, those for?
Sorry, can I just ask?
Yes, Councillor Hogan.
Can I just ask a question? Are we voting on it with that addition?
Through Mr. Mayor, rather than alter the amendment, I'm certainly happy to take on board the request of councillors that we add privacy treatments as appropriate to those windows.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Director. Now, we'll put the motion. Those for? Against? Carried. Item number 8.2.4, naming of public roads, development consent number 2017/396, 221 lot residential subdivision, lot 11 DP 872964, Fremantle Road, Eglinton. Councillor's going to move and a seconder. Councillor Smith, Councillor North. Councillor, any discussion? Councillor, now put the motion. Those for? Against? Carried. Item number 8.2.5, naming of public road, State Drive. Councillors could have a move and a seconder. Councillor North, Councillor Hogan. Councillors, any discussion? Councillor Hanger.
I was the one who, in the previous council meeting, I think brought up that we could be able to name this Jack State Drive. I accept the fact that the Geographical's Names Board have changed their method of naming and made it much more strict than it was in the past. Bathurst has a dozen names of streets, places, etc., with double barrel names: Barrygurden Drive, Brookmore Drive, Eric Sargent Drive, French Smith Place, and so it goes on, Leo Grant Drive. But I accept that we can't do that now because Jack's Lane is very close. I accept the fact that emergency service people could get mixed up with Jack State Drive and Jack's Lane, and I accept that, and happy to go along with the recommendation. Somewhat sadly, I think Jack State's name should have been, we should be able to use that, but we can't. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Hanger. Any further discussion? Yes, Councillor Orban.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I have to agree with Councillor Hanger on that one. I'm just disappointed that the full name of this Great Bathurst Citizen can't be used on a road. I mean, you've only got to look at Rankin Street in Bathurst and Rankin Street in Eglinton. They were spelt differently, but boy, they sure sound the same. Yeah, it's a disappointment, but I guess, you know, we'll just go with it. Go with the flow now and let it go through.
Thank you, Councillor Orban. Any further discussion? Councillors now put the motion. Those for? Against? Carried. Item number 8.2.6, Wattle Flat Public Recreation Reserve Management Plan. Councillor have a mover and a seconder. Councillor North, Councillor Smith. Councillor, any discussion? Councillor Burke.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to note there was a submission of a letter from the community out there. I just wanted to see that the process in which their concerns will be addressed from this point onwards.
Through you, Mr. Director.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I take it that that's reference to the submission from the Wattle Flat Progress Association. So our suggestion, Mr. Mayor, is that that be considered as a submission during the exhibition period. There may well be more, and so it's we'll come back to council with an analysis of all of those submissions at the close of the exhibition period.
Thank you, Mr. Director. Any further discussion? Councillors now put the motion. Those for? Against? Carried. Councillor, we now move to the Director of Corporate Service and Finances report. Item number 8.3.1, Statement of Investments. Councillor can have a mover and a seconder. Councillor Hogan, Councillor Smith. Councillors, any discussion? Councillor, I now put the motion. Those for? Sorry. Against? Carried. Item number 8.3.2, Monthly Review 2021-2025 Delivery Plan and Operational Plan 2021-2022. Councillors can have a mover and a seconder. Councillor North, Councillor Smith. Councillors, any discussion? Councillor, now put the motion. Those for? Against? Carried. Item number 8.3.3, sundry section 356 donations, Bathurst Memorial Entertainment Centre, community use subsidies and Mount Panorama fee subsidies. Councillor can have a mover and a seconder. Councillor Hogan and Councillor Smith. Councillor, any discussion? Councillor North.
It's just a question off track. I figure it'd be hard for you to see when you can't see two other councillors on screen. Two, if they want, should they not be on screen so you can see their reaction and putting their hand up? I
I've only
thought
got-
that would have been part of it.
I've only got the one here.
Look, that is councillor preferable, but I know with councillor Jennings, and part of it may be that he is travelling back, and so he's in different sections of travelling back, and his connectivity can be a problem. And councillor Orban is there.
He's there,
Councillor
yes.
Fry, I think he's certainly down around Wagga area. He may be having connectivity problems as well, but he certainly was connected in earlier on.
Thanks, Councillor North. Yeah, that makes it difficult. Councillors, I'll put the motion. Councillors, those for? Against? Carried. Item number 8.3.4, power of attorney. Councillors, they have a move and a seconder. Councillor Smith, Councillor Hogan. Councillors, any discussion? Councillors, now put the motion. Those for? Against? Carried. Item 8.3.5, provision of election services 2024 local government elections. Councillor can have a move and a seconder. Councillor Burke, Councillor Smith. Councillors, any discussion? Councillor North.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Mayor. As the council that raised this originally, to say I wasn't happy with the process run in last time. Members of the public have raised issues, but I think we've got to make it very clear when we're up to nearly 350,000, and the way this has gone up since I've been in council over a long period of time is getting ridiculous, that they should be more aware of the society, the community they're working in to provide the services, and it shouldn't have to be up to members of the community. Luckily we have good ones out there that can keep bringing us up to date with what's not happening, but they need to, when we're paying this sort of money, they need to provide the service they should provide. During that election period, there was a number of issues raised, and I followed them up, and they just tried to refer me back to council. So at a state level, I think they need to simply get a kick in the backside, and issues like this, accessibility, should be on the top of the list straight away on any site they look for. Whether, this sort of thing going into the future, we've got to find a community hall and pre-polls done out of that. As soon as you get shop fronts and that, and in the middle of town, it's a problem. And I would like this council to make it clear to the Electoral Commission at all levels, they need to fix this up in a much better way, because 300, what is it? We're up to 323,000. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, point thing. Thanks, Councillor North. Councillor Burke.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, just quickly, I wanted to speak to Mr. Triming's comments earlier and understand what the process is in making requests. That, it is quite embarrassing, I guess, with as Councillor North said, the amount of money that we're spending on a service, and you would also think that we're almost living in the dark ages if disability isn't considered by, electoral commission. What's the process in ensuring that that's actually thought out before the fact, not after?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I might just provide a quick comment. There's a very big difference between the federal election and the local government election. The federal election, there was no discussions because with the council as to the site chosen. We became aware of the site at the same time the public did, so there's no real input in the process. In terms of the local government elections, there are discussions held with the electoral office, and I can tell you, for instance, one of the reasons that they were looking at the Cathedral School, was the access availability, and certainly we had discussions as to the access availability to the Girl Guides Hall, and I think we're going to putting a footpath in there, so there is discussions. Probably the main areas that we have problems with will be in the villages and some of the remote sites because there just aren't available facilities. We try and get as much as possible, but from my experience in terms of accessibility, there is a fair amount of awareness, but it is difficult to get the facilities. And in a local government election, particularly for the pre-polls, they're wanting those facilities for around 3 months, and it's very difficult to find a short-term hire for that sort of period.
Thank you, Mr Chair. Any further discussion? Councillors, I'll now put the motion. Warren, sorry. Yell out. Councillor Owen.
I just find, council having to spend $343,000 on an election, and I realise it costs more if we ran it ourselves, but, it's a lot of money for an absolutely bad service that we had in the last election. Excuse me. I mean, I have one personal experience where I rang and, I had a question that the lady that answered the phone couldn't even understand me. She went to I asked for a superior, she got somebody else, and they put me through. They said, oh, we'll put you through to someone to speak to. I ended up getting through, excuse me, to the Australian Electoral Commission, who have absolutely nothing to do with local government elections. And I just found it so poorly run. People that were down there on the phone weren't even versed in electoral procedures, that it just made it really, really hard for people that were running our elections to get answers to questions that they needed answers to. I did have a couple of other calls that I made to them, and I did get answers, and it was fine, but you expect that all the time. You're spending decent money for service, you should be getting that decent service. And unfortunately, that was lacking amazing. So hopefully next time round, we get value for money and bang for our buck, as it were, and answers the questions straight away that we ask, and that we don't have the officer in charge just putting his hands in the air saying, I can't do anything about it. I mean, that is ridiculous. He's in charge, he's doing the elections, and I think people know the problems that we were having down there that he couldn't do anything about. So hopefully next time it's run a little bit better.
Thank you, Councillor Owen. Councillor Hogan.
Just a quick comment. At the Local Government New South Wales conference in February, I think there was a motion passed down there with a number of criteria that the Government Association is putting forward to address some of the issues that have been raised. So it's not just Bathurst, I don't think, that has had some issues, as it turns out. So yeah, there is pressure being applied from other quarters.
Thank you, Councillor Hogan. Any further discussion? Councillor now put the motion. Those for, against, carried. Item 8.3.6, correction to draft 2022-2023 revenue policy, currently on exhibition. Councillor going to move and a seconder. Councillor Smith, Councillor Burke. Councillors, any discussion? Councillors, I'll now put the motion. Those for, against, carried. Item 8.3.7, Long-Term Financial Plan 2022-2023 to 2031-2032. Councillors, can I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Burke, Councillor Hogan. Councillors, any discussion? Councillors, now put the motion. Those for, against, carried. Item 8.3.8, water charges written off, 105 Durham Street, Bathurst. Councillors, could I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Burke, Councillor Hogan. Councillors, any discussion? Councillors, I'll now put the motion. Those for. Councillors, going to have a count there. Those for. Against, carried. Councillors, we now move to the Director of Engineering Services reports. Item 8.4.1, Verge mowing Bathurst City area. Councillors can have a mover and a seconder. Councillor Hogan, Councillor Smith. Councillors, any discussion? Councillors, I now put the motion. Those for? Those against? Carried. Item 8.4.2, water supply update. Councillor can have a mover and a seconder. Councillor Hogan, Councillor North. Councillors, any discussion? Councillors, I now put the motion. Those for? Against? Carried. Councillors, we now move to the Director of Cultural and Community Services reports. Item 8.5.1, Community Events 2022, March-April, International Women's Day, Harmony Week, Seniors Festival and Youth Week. Councillors, have a mover and a seconder. Councillor North, Councillor Burke. Councillors, any discussion? Councillor Hogan.
There's been some fantastic events happening. I'd just like to pass on our thanks to the staff because there's a lot of work that goes into these. So can you just give them our thanks?
Okay, thanks, Councillor Hogan. Councillor Burke.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. In addition to your comments, Mark, I agree. I had some aged. Is that the correct term? My grandparents attended some of the Seniors Week festivities. Said it was amazing. So again, my congrats to the staff and the hard work.
Thank you, Councillor Burke. Any further discussion? Councillors, I now put the motion. Those for? Against? Carried. Item 8.5.2, Bathurst Public Art Projects, update May 2022. Councillor can have a mover and a seconder. Councillor Hogan, Councillor Burke. Councillors, any discussion? Councillor now put the motion. Those for? Against? Carried. Item 8.5.3, Bathurst Heritage Trades Trail 2022. Councillors can have a mover and a seconder. Councillor Burke, Councillor Hanger. Councillors, any discussion? Councillors now put the motion. Those for? Against? Carried. Item 8.5.4, Bathurst Library Mobile and Home Library Services Update, May 2022. Councillors can have a mover and a seconder. Councillor Burke, Councillor Hanger. Councillors, any discussion? Councillor Hanger.
Mr. Mayor, I feel obliged to just say something because our former councillor Morse sat in this position, and she, anytime anything for the library came up, she was on her feet, and I feel I should do the same. But again, just congratulations to the library service. I mean, we're talking back in the 1970s, I think, when this service all started. Everything is going absolutely swimmingly, and so many years ago, the demise of books and writing was proposed that it would happen with computers. Hasn't happened, and our library service just goes from strength to strength. So well done to all the people at the library. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Hanger. Any further discussion? Councillors now put the motion. Those for? Against? Carried. Item 8.5.5, Autumn School Holiday Activities, April 2022. Councillors can have a mover and a seconder. Councillor North, Councillor Smith. Councillors, any discussion? Councillors, I'll now put the motion. Those for? Against? Carried. Councillors, we now move to reports of other committees. Item 9.1, Traffic Committee Report, 3rd of May 2022. Councillors can have a mover and a seconder. Who have we got? Councillor Auburn and Councillor Hogan. Councillors, any discussion? Councillors, I now put the motion. Those for? Against? Carried. Councillors, we now deal with the Councillors' Delegates Reports. Item 10.1, Minutes Bathurst Community Safety Committee, 7th of April 2022. Councillor can have a mover and a seconder. Councillor Burke, Councillor North. Councillors, any discussion? Councillor now put the motion. Those for? Against? Carried. Item 10.2, minutes councillors meeting with community groups representatives, 13th of April 2022. Councillors can have a mover and a seconder. Councillor Burke, Councillor Hanger. Councillors, any discussion? Councillors, I now put the motion. Those for? Against? Carried. Item 10.3, minutes councillors meeting with community groups representatives, 27th of April 2022. Councillors can have a mover and a seconder. Councillor North, Councillor Burke. Councillors, any discussion? Councillors, I now put the motion. Those for? Against? Carried. Item number 10.4, minutes councillors meeting with community groups representatives, 4th of May 2022. Councillors can have a mover and a seconder. Councillor North, Councillor Burke. Councillors, any discussion? Councillors, I now put the motion. Those for? Against? Carried. Councillors, we are now due to go into confidential committee. Councillors, I could have a motion to go into confidential meeting of council. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Hogan, Councillor North. Are there any members of the public and press who wish to make representation to the council as to whether the matter should or should not be dealt with in confidential committee? As there are no representatives, I now put the motion to go into confidential committee. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Could we ensure that recording the meeting has been turned off?
Mr Mayor, Council just has completed meeting in confidential session and considered 2 items. Item number 1, which was electricity procurement, large sites and street lighting. Council has proposed that Council note the extreme and unprecedented volatility of the electricity market currently being experienced, and 2, replace the previous position adopted from Council Report 16 March 2022, contribute a minimum 50% of Council's electricity load to renewable energy power purchase agreement where the pricing is lower than the existing contracted price, with contribute a minimum of 50% of Council's electricity load to a renewable energy power purchase agreement. Item number 2, ex gratia payment, Bathurst Transport Repairs. Council's position is that the information be noted.
Thank you, General Manager. Council, we now need to adopt the items of committee of the whole confidential sessions. Please have a mover and a seconder. Councillor North, Councillor Burke. Council, now put the motion. Those for? Against?